Hello, I'm John Magnus, owner of Haring Multi-Trailer LLC. We're the company that owns the patent rights to the Haring Multi-Trailer here in the United States. I'd like to take a few minutes and go over some of the changes that we've made to the Haring Multi-Trailer since we started about a year ago, and talk about some of the features that this trailer has that you may not be aware of. This is the 2021 Haring Multi-Trailer. And as you can see, this is a pretty impressive trailer. It's the only trailer on the market that's a flatbed and a triple row hay trailer all in one. This is a picture of the trailer with the sides up in the flat deck mode. This is a picture of the trailer with the decks up and the sides at a 45-degree angle to form the cradles that make it a hay trailer. And this is with the flat deck trailer with the decks down in the flatbed mode and the sides down. If you're familiar with this trailer, you'll see right off that we changed our axle setup. We went from 3 7,000-pound Torflex Dexter axles to either 2 10 or 2 12,000-pound Dexter axles. This past summer, we had some of our customers bend the front axle of their triple axle trailers. And it didn't end up being their fault or anybody else's fault, but Dexter had some bad axles. They had some bad parts. And so they warrantied everybody's axles. But in the process of talking to the engineers at Dexter, they told me that they were coming out with this new wide setup. And then they even told me about this new Hutch or Dexter HDSS system that they were going to be offering for sale. This is the HDSS suspension system. This is straight off of a semi-trailer. It's extremely heavy duty. It's got semi-springs on it. Each axle has 20,400 pounds of spring. It has an adjustable tie rod right here that goes to the front. And so you can set this trailer up to be exactly parallel when it comes to travel and tire wear and a lot of things that lesser trailers don't have the option for. This also creates a lot more travel than a normal trailer or normal spring setup would have on rough ground, which is what hay trailers typically operate under, is in pastures and fields. So it's a different need. This is a picture of the tire combination. The tire on this new setup is a super single. It's a 235/75 17.5 with an 18-ply tire, and this thing is massive. The other change that we made this year was we went to Midway cylinders. We have a great relationship with them. This cost a little bit more money, but we thought it was a worthwhile improvement on our trailers was to go with an American-made cylinder so that if you ever had to have one rebuilt or changed, you could easily get parts for it. And we like the tie rod system because it's so much easier to service and change on cylinders as they wear. And these cylinders are made in Kinsley, Kansas. We are really proud to offer these on our trailer. This is a picture of the very first Haring Multi-Trailer that we started with. I bought this from a farmer in Ohio who had used it for 15 years in a commercial hay operation. And so this is what we started with and started making our improvements to. And so I'd like to go over some of the changes that we've made and things that our customers have thought of to make this trailer even better and stronger than it originally was. First thing that you'll notice about this trailer is that we use 1-inch square tubing on the deck. It's 11 gauge. That first trailer had 14 gauge and it was extremely tough, but we thought we needed to make this even better. So our trailers come with 11 gauge tubing on the deck, and we moved our C channels closer together to make it even stronger. The back of the trailer, we changed the design of the back of the trailer, and we think this looks really good with the angled LED lights. We added doors on the back to protect the ramps from falling out. Your 2 ramps slide in the slots right here. And then we changed the width of the trailer up to the full legal width of 102 inches. Our old trailers were 99. This is the ramp on the back. I get a lot of questions about ramps. We made these ramps as big and heavy as we can. They come with a heavy duty C channel that's right here. And they're 94.5 inches long, which is almost a full 8 feet. You know, it seems like you can never have your ramps big enough, and the compromise for us was what was heavy. And I'll tell you right here in the beginning that the weight of these ramps is the worst part of this whole trailer. They are extremely heavy duty. The good thing is you shouldn't have to worry about bending these ramps. One change that we made is we put the cylinders on the back side of the I-beam to protect them while you're going through rough things in pastures, so that you're less likely to damage or tear off the cylinder. We went from a plastic cylinder, or excuse me, a plastic fender to this steel fender that protects your wheels. It has this part here in the middle that protects your cylinder on this side here, and we made it removable. And so you can take this center section out right here, and you can work or service your cylinder or do anything you need to do. Or if you were to have a blowout and it tore this up or bent it, you can just take it off and straighten it out and put it back on. We went from that first trailer having single hydraulics, which means that they would only lift the load up. They wouldn't, it didn't have hydraulic option to drop the sides. Ours has complete two-way hydraulics. So the hydraulics will lift your sides up or your deck up and put them down. The sides are, you have the ability to put the side all the way up or all the way down, like it shows here. And then when you make your hay cradle, you put it at about a 45-degree angle. And that makes the cradle on your trailer adjustable. And we'll go over that in a little bit. You can adjust this side up to fit the size of bales that you're hauling, which is extremely handy. Okay, we changed the way that the arms and the sides were made. Instead of having a flat weld here, we went to a 45-degree angle to shut that tubing off. And it makes that arm that holds your center decks up, it makes it a lot more strong. The sides, we 45 them, and we cap the ends. So a lot of little things just to make this trailer a little bit stronger and a little bit better. We added a chain box at the bottom, and we changed the pull arms. Like if you look at our video, some of the videos show the arm hooked at the bottom. That was our very first trailer. You pulled down on these instead of out. And so this change gave us the ability to have the chain box and be able to access things in the chain box. We have a completely sealed and locked toolbox here at the front. When you lock this up, you don't have to worry about somebody stealing your battery. And if you have the hydraulic motor on your jacks, they can't even move your trailer up and down to steal it without tearing this lock off the front. Our trailers come with a built-in 18-amp inverter charger to keep your battery charged up. Like if you've been hauling hay all day, you can plug a 120-volt extension cord into here and charge it up. And if you have a new pickup that has 120 volt, you can plug this in while you're running your truck, and it will charge at 120 volts, charge your battery through the inverter charger. This is top of the line, the biggest and the best one that I could find on the market. We have the switch here in the front. It has a 4-way selector switch, and you can tell that there's 4 banks of hydraulic hoses. If you click over here to the left, if your trailer is equipped with a jack, this will run the motor on your jack and lift your trailer up and down. We have left, center, and right, and then of course off. This is a dummy light. We have a switch on our trailer that you flip the switch and it locks up the brakes. So when you're pushing hay on your trailer, it doesn't tear the transmission out of your truck. And when you flip this switch, the light comes on. And if you don't see that light when you're walking back to get in your truck, you get in, you see the rear view mirror, you'll still be able to see this light on and remind you that you need to unlock your brakes. This is how the hydraulic hoses are run underneath your trailer. We're extremely proud. Pisano Trailers added this option without even being asked. There is a metal cutout welded to the side with rubber grommets in it, and it just makes this trailer look 100%. Even from the underside that you can't normally see, it's just a really well-built trailer. We take the brake wires, and they come in the normal wire mesh, loom, you will, and then we run it in a hydraulic 3/8 hydraulic hose with heavy duty clamps on here. And then we tuck it up under so that that wire is not dangling, and it should not get tore off by corn stalks or whatever you're hauling as things go underneath your trailer. This is also a good view to look at the massiveness of these semi springs on this and the adjustable tie rod on the driver's side. Again, this is the back of the trailer. It's 102 wide. They come with an Interstate deep cycle battery that's on board that will charge off your truck, or you can charge it off here, or you can even get a solar charger. This is the spare tire mount. This is one of the new tires mounted up there. These are extremely heavy, but this is a good place to keep it out of the way until you need it. I want to talk a few seconds about the paint. Pisano Trailers that builds these trailers for us, they sandblast the trailer when it's complete all the way down to this bare metal. They put, I think they said 3.4 mils of primer on and 5.4 mils of paint, so that this paint is extremely high quality and it has a good shine to it when it's clean, which doesn't happen a lot after you start using your trailer. But you can be confident that this paint should last. It's not a cheap paint job thrown on a bunch of oily metal that's going to start falling off within a year. Right here, I don't know if you can see this, but there's a jack extension mounted right here in the front of your trailer with a little bolt in the bottom. This goes on your crank jack. If you ever get in a bind and have to unhook your trailer with hay on it, you can put this extension on your crank, and then you can drop your trailer down or lift it up. These are the safety stops on the sides, and this would be in normal configuration. These safety stops don't touch anything. They don't stop your cylinder, and they don't stop your hay load from operating. They just catch it so that it won't dump on the highway if you have a hydraulic line break or bleed off. These safety stops are kind of neat, and I'll play this video here. They drop down out of the way and then lift up. And this is the handle right here that my hand is on. You just pull that handle down, and that lets your safety stops go down and out of your way. Trailer options, we offer a torque tube, but I put that on there because everyone asked about a torque tube in the beginning. This trailer really doesn't need a torque tube. It's an expensive option, but this trailer does not bend and twist like a normal trailer with tandem duals would have that has a narrow frame. This is a wide frame. That's why we have the super singles, so we can use the wide frame, and it doesn't require a torque tube. I've had a few customers order their trailer with a torque tube, and after we've kind of pulled it and used it a little bit, we noticed right away that it was almost too stiff. So I would suggest to everybody, I think you'll be plenty happy with your trailer without a torque tube. We offer the double jack option. You can have one jack. The standard trailer comes with one, or you can order it with two. We talked about the spare tire. That's an option. We don't include that on every trailer unless you ask for it, because a lot of farmers have stacks of spares at home that they take with them when they go on the road. And so some farmers don't need a spare. We offer a solar charger for your trailer, and I'll show you a picture of that here in just a second. It's a nice option to keep that deep cycle battery topped off all the time. And we offer a jack motor. And this is a hydraulic motor that goes on your jack, and it's my favorite part of all the options of everything on the trailer, because I absolutely hate cranking trailers. This is a picture right here of the solar charger, and on our website it says with plate. This is the plate that comes with it. It comes from the factory. This is a 12 amp solar charger. It's the biggest and best one that I could find on the market. Mounts up front so that it's out of the way. And this is the hydraulic motor. This mounts on the side of the I-beam, and this turns your normal crankjack. This has so many advantages to it that it's a no-brainer, and I can't believe that other trailer manufacturers haven't thought of this yet. But I think you'll probably see this setup on a lot of trailers. I absolutely dislike hydraulic jacks because all they are is a cylinder. And if something happens and your battery goes dead, or you have a seal leak or hydraulic line break or whatever, you're stranded. With this one, this just cranks your normal hand crank jacks. We disconnect the hand crank, put this on the other side, and then, as you'll see here in a second, if something were to happen, you can undo the snap on the inside of the I-beam and move it to the other side, and you can still use your hand crank. You don't have to use the hydraulic one, the hydraulic motor. So I'm going to hit play here. Let's turn the sound on. Lift and switch the jack. It turns out, get that snap pin out of the other side and put it in this side right here. Then your hand crank will work. Otherwise, it just turns inside of that collar where your hand crank is. So I think this is a really awesome option. Like I said, I absolutely hate cranking trailers, and it's about half the price of hydraulic jacks. So it's an affordable option too. Let's talk about some frequently asked questions. The first question that I had and everybody asked me is about duals. And when I called Mr. Haring the first time and asked him, why don't you make this trailer with the narrow frame and duals? And he said, well, this trailer does one thing that other trailers can't do, and that's it can dump one side at a time. And the reason it's stable enough to do that, even on a hill, is that it has a wide frame. And if you had duals, you couldn't do that. So that's the reason we haven't offered it in duals. But I'll be honest, I've wondered about it because this new HDSS system that we use on our wide axles, it is so oversprung and heavy duty. I wonder if it couldn't handle it. But the other thing is if we went to duals, then on a 32-foot trailer, you would probably need the torque tube. So that's going to add another $900 to the cost of the trailer. So with these super singles, we think it's a good option. And I've heard a lot of other people in the trailer business say they think that more and more trailer dealer or manufacturers are going to go to the wide axle with the super singles instead of duals. The next question that I get asked is about dealers. Do I have dealers or do I want dealers? And part of our business plan when we started was not to have dealers. The first few people that called me asking about dealers, I said, well, what percentage would you expect to make on the trailers? And they said, well, we'd like to see a 30% markup so that we could give our customers a 5% discount and still make 25%. Well, on this trailer, that's about $5,600. And I have fought so hard to keep the price of these trailers down and to keep the quality up. We put the trailers together here. They come to us from Pisano Trailers on a semi, and we have a crane operator that sets them on the ground. We put the axles on that you asked for. We put the hydraulics on, and we do all of the work here just to save the money of having the factory do it, because we can do it a lot cheaper here. So, you know, I've told them, I said, you know, I'll be darned if I'm going to give dealers $5,600 off the top of this trailer, which we would have to increase the price of, just so you can make that. I don't even make that much money, and I'm the guy putting these together on the ground. I'm under every trailer, looking at every trailer, inspecting every trailer, trying to make sure that it's perfect for each of our customers. And we have trailers now from Massachusetts and Maine all the way to Oregon, a few in Montana and North Dakota, all the way to South Texas. We have a lot of trailers out there that I take a lot of pride in. And my theory was we will give the customer that discount right off the top. And then in exchange, all we ask them to do is to help us out. If there's someone in their area that wants to see a trailer or look at one or see it work or talk to them on the phone and give them an opinion, We just ask that you do that in exchange for the money that we've saved you by not employing dealers to stock our trailers. The other thing that a dealer would do is a dealer would hire a hotshot driver to come and pull this trailer to whatever state you live in. And that hotshot driver is going to charge them between $2 and $3 a mile, which they would just add on to the cost of your trailer for transportation. So we give you the option, and we prefer if every farmer comes to Oklahoma and picks it up, so I can visit with you, give you the class on how to operate it, and just do everything one-on-one, person to person. And then all it costs you for your trailer is the cost of the diesel and a little bit of time to drive to Oklahoma. Color options. One of the deals with Pisano trailers was that we didn't change the color of this trailer, that we kept this one color so that they didn't have to worry about going back and forth. They order the paint for these in 55-gallon drums, and it's an extremely high quality paint. So to keep the cost of the paint down, we told them that we would stay with the one blue color. The cradle size on these is completely adjustable. We have some customers hauling silage bales that are 4x4 and weigh almost a ton. The cradle size is adjustable, which I'll go over that a little bit more here in just a minute. But that makes a good option. If you're hauling 6-foot bales, or if you're hauling 5-foot or 4-foot bales, you can adjust the size of the cradle to fit your bale size. Loading hay, you can push the hay on from the back. You can load it on from the side. If you have 5-foot bales, for instance, that's only about 30 foot to about 31 feet of hay. So we left a little bit of room where you can set those bales up with a squeeze on the sides of them and still load them from the side. The top row, people ask about loading that top row, and we don't have a hay squeeze mechanism for our skid steer or our tractor here. We just stab them in the side with a John Deere 3010 and just set them up top in the middle after we've pushed both sides on. And that seems to work real well. Loading equipment, you know, the ramps, no ramp is good. And like I said, our ramps are heavy. They push on, they push in the back and pull out the back. People ask me a lot of questions about a skid steer. If you look at our Facebook page, you'll see pictures of our skid steer on our trailer. We back that skid steer on, and so we can drive it off forward, but you can do either. It climbs right up there. The only problem we've had is when the trailer was covered in snow and we had to drive through snow with the skid steer to get it on. It was a little slick, but with a modification, a few little rods welded on your ramps, I think you could drive a track skid steer up that ramp in any kind of condition. Stability, I'm going to show you a picture here of our trailer in just a second, where we dump the hay uphill. We pull around and do a U-turn with the loaded side downhill to prove that it doesn't want to tip. And then we come back and drop the other side uphill. Third row dumping, and we'll talk about that here in a second. Third row dumping has some challenges. If you've watched my previous video on flat ground, I tell you that about half the time you have to walk around the back of the trailer and give that row a push to get it to go sometimes. Well, we've found some things that we can do to make that a little bit better, but that is still a factor. And the other thing that I mentioned in a video is, like I said, this trailer is 32 feet. If you put 6 5-foot bales on there and push them up, you'll have about a foot of room in the front. You should not cram the hay to the front on the I-beams, because that just makes more friction for your hay to be able to roll off of. You know, I tell everybody that if this trailer were only a flatbed trailer, this would be the best flatbed trailer on the market. And here's a few reasons why. The first one is this 11-gauge tubing is virtually indestructible. It never rots or rusts or wears out. It should be there for the life of your trailer, and it's an awesome deck. It doesn't pull water or ice or snow like a flat steel deck would. If that were your option, it's self-cleaning. The hay typically just blows off the top by the time you get to your next load. If there was any hay left on there, it comes off. We have a customer that has a grain bin that he puts on his, and the grain just goes down through the middle when he center dumps it. And so that's kind of a neat feature of the deck. But the best part, I think, is that you can tie down your load anywhere. If you're hauling a big tractor, you can even run the chains down through the deck and bring them back up around the I-beam to give you a lot more peace of mind when it comes to tying your load down. On pallets, we like to run our straps down the side of the pallet, go through the tubing, and then come out to the sides to tie them down. So if you have a trailer that has a bad deck on it, I would encourage you to put this 1x1 square tubing on there. It makes your trailer so much better and gives you a lot more options than a normal flat deck trailer. The last one is when you put the sides up, they give you a tremendous amount of confidence, whether you have a skid steer tractor, pallets of chemicals, or anything on there. When you put those sides up, you know that if it comes off, it's probably going off the back, if anything, if something were to break or move or flex. As far as a hay trailer, I believe that this trailer is the best hay trailer on the market, and for a few reasons. The first one is it's completely hydraulic, so anyone can operate it. At our house, my wife and daughters haul most of our hay, and in most farming operations, that's the way it is. Grandma and grandpa, moms, kids, and a lot of times the person can drive and haul hay for you. They just can't lift up anything heavy, like if it was a cradle trailer or if the sides were not hydraulic. If you can push the button in, you can haul hay on this trailer. It's extremely easy to operate. It's self-unloading. The hay just rolls off, so you don't have to have a tractor on both ends. And this is probably the best part of the trailer altogether. You can dump one side at a time, and that's huge. If you are thinking about going to a double row hay trailer, when you pull in your lot with a cradle double row hay trailer, both sides have to unload at once. And that leaves a huge mess in your hay lot. Even though you didn't need a tractor to unload it, it's not very long until you have to get on the tractor and spend quite a bit of time moving all your hay to one side. With this trailer, you can pull in, drop it on one side, do a U-turn, drop the other side, and you never have to touch that hay again until you're ready to feed it. And of course, it can haul a third row of hay. I want to show you this video right here. This is our trailer in action. And I'll just kind of talk a few things here. This was one of our first triple axle trailers. And the ramps that we have now are a little bit longer than this one, so they won't be quite as steep. This was our very first prototype, which you'll see here in just a minute. You'll see that the handles here in the middle, they pull down instead of from the side. What I'm doing here is I'm lifting the sides up. When I push these handles back, it will put the stops underneath of them. And then when I drop this side back down, it puts the weight on all of these L braces all the way down this trailer. This is what holds the weight. Your hydraulic cylinders do not hold any weight. All they do is lift the centers up when they're empty and put them back down. You never use the hydraulics to try to help you dump hay or to push hay off. Here is loading the trailer. This is a friend of mine named Henry, and he had some hay ready to go when we were ready to do this. So we're showing this trailer here that you can load it 2 bales at a time, which makes it even faster to load when you can put that much hay on at once. Here's pushing the back on. We cut this off by accident, but you can see that hay. Now this is downhill. The loaded side of this trailer is downhill. So when he does a U-turn and comes back here, the loaded side was downhill, and you can tell how stable this trailer was. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to dump this load of hay uphill, and you watch this hay roll off and then come back down the grade and hit the trailer and then settle. And then I can drop the sides out of the way and drive out without tearing the net wrap off. And there's 3 rows of hay. This is a video of me dumping. Everybody's been wanting to see me dump 3 rows of hay. And one of the questions that they had, does the hay ever come off and go up on its end? And I told them no, I never had it do that, but you can see this bale standing up on its end right here. When I dumped this load of hay, the one right before this, one of them bales come off and hit another bale and then flipped up on in. But you'll see this top row comes down with a vengeance. That's why we have increased this trailer. We've made the I-beam. Most trailers have 16-pound I-beam, and ours has a massive 19-pound I-beam. and we've made the neck of this trailer taller and longer to accommodate these new pickups. This is a 2020 Chevrolet pickup, and as you can tell, it's way overloaded. I think this load, we had 27,000 pounds of hay on this trailer, but this is one of those taller beds, and you can tell there's plenty of room. If you were driving off-road, the gooseneck part of this is not going to hit your bed. You have a lot of clearance in between here. So I'll play this video here and you can watch this come down. And this was my last load of hay to finish up here. And some of those bales were kind of ugly that went on that side of the last row, which is about the way it usually is. If you bale hay, your worst bale ever always comes out right along the highway so everybody can see it. It never fails. And that's kind of the way this was. When I thought, hey, I ought to get my daughter to videotape this for me on this last load before it's too late. I didn't even think about the kind of hay I had on this load. But anyway, that's it. One thing that I want to talk about is, we talked about that the cradles were adjustable. And so I put this picture on here to show you how you shouldn't do it. This hay should have been set up with these arms a little taller. I like to make it so these center rows almost touch. And when you're unloading 3 rows of hay, if you have that, if you have these bales adjusted up this ramp as far as you can with these sides, it's a lot more likely to roll off. And if you use like a top net wrap, like a John Deere or a name brand net wrap, that net wrap is not nearly as stiff and rough as off-brand net wrap is, that can stop these bales from coming down from friction. So I just wanted to throw that in. You should adjust your hay so that they almost touch in the middle, and that makes it a lot easier to unload, and it makes your load narrower. Okay, I'm going to play this video right here. This is Pat Guptill from Quinn, South Dakota. He bought our very first prototype trailer and then sold it to a friend. And then he bought another trailer. And this is a triple axle trailer. Pat's one of the people that had the front axle on his trailer bend. And when he did this video, he hadn't got his new axle done, but Dexter warrantied all those axles and stood behind him. And they had it delivered and paid for the actual tires that might have been damaged and the labor to trade those axles out, because he's a little too far from Oklahoma for us to do it for him. So let me play this for you. While you're watching this video, look at the amount of hay that is stacked in the background here. That is ridiculous to me. That's a lot of hay.
Hello, this is the Guptill Ranch in Quinn, South Dakota, which is in western South Dakota, north of the Badlands. We've owned one of these Haring Multi-Trailers for 2 years. You see, we hauled quite a bit of hay with it this year, and it's just a short look at our place. And this is one of the best investments I've ever made. We've used this trailer for hauling everything from vinegar to bales, lumber, everything we need. It's like I say, it's one of the best investments I've made. And if I have an issue with it, which had to replace the front axle, John is going ahead and taking care of that right away. And I highly recommend one of these trailers if you're hauling hay and need a flatbed also.
So there you have it. This is the Haring Multi-Trailer, and I appreciate you watching this video. But I know if you're serious about being interested in a trailer, this probably gave you a lot of information that you may have needed or answered some questions that you had. So I appreciate you. And as always, I just ask you to tell your friends and neighbors about our trailer. We don't do a lot of advertising. We're relying on word of mouth. And we just ask you to help us and your neighbor out. And if you'd like to see one in your state or your area, give me a call And I'll do my best to put you in contact with someone that is within driving range of you, that you could go and look and visit with them in person and get their opinion on one of these trailers. And again, God bless, and I thank you.